Okay, let's get back to Bedikas Chametz in the practical levels. We discussed all the rooms that you need to check and how, but we didn't do how to check. Okay, so the din of Bedikas Chametz has to be done right after Ma'ariv. In fact, in halacha it says, what happens if somebody always davens Ma'ariv at home? They don't go to Minyan for Arvit. So then, they should do Bedikas Chametz before they daven Ma'ariv. As soon as it gets dark, they should do Bedikas Chametz even though they didn't daven Ma'ariv yet. Even though, from a halachic, logical point of view, Ma'ariv should come before Bedikas Chametz. Number one, Ma'ariv is Todeh v'she'enu Todeh, more common, less common. Ma'ariv we do every night, Bedikas Chametz we do once a year. So, Ma'ariv should come first. Secondly, in Arvis we have the mitzvah Krishma, which is a biblical mitzvah. Bedikas Chametz is only a rabbinic mitzvah. So what, nevertheless, halacha says that Bedikas Chametz comes first. Why? Because if you don't do it right away, it's called mitzvah iveres. It's a mitzvah that you're passing over the time. The time for the Bedikas Chametz is really as soon as it gets dark. When it's still not 100% dark yet, that's the mitzvah Bedikas Chametz.
What about someone takes a long time to do it again?
No, as long as they start. They start right away. Therefore, before Bedikas Chametz, you're not allowed to eat, just a little snack you can eat. You're not allowed to learn. You're not allowed to do anything. Once the time for Bedikas Chametz comes, you're not allowed to do anything but right away Bedikas Chametz. People that go to shul, so again, there's a problem getting a minyan later, so then halachically, you can even learn between Mincha and Ma'ariv, and halachically you daven Ma'ariv first. So now, the rooms that we learned, the rooms that you want to do Bedikas Chametz on or in, so they have to be clean. Obviously, you can't do Bedikas dirt. You have to do Bedikas Chametz. So the room needs to be clean. Then the custom is you put out 10 pieces of bread. Now the 10 pieces of bread, we've discussed it already, but the 10 pieces of bread should not be wrapped in aluminum foil because they don't burn. Aluminum foil doesn't burn. It does burn, but not right away. So you have to wrap the 10 pieces of paper in a piece of 10 pieces of bread in a paper. Now, or newspaper, or whatever, paper towel, whatever. Now each piece of the 10 should be smaller than a kazayas, smaller than an ounce. Altogether, there should be at least an ounce, because then you get a mitzvah burning the chametz. So before you start the Bedikas Chametz, before you start searching for chametz, you put out the 10 pieces in different parts of the house. You have to remember where you put them. In fact, some people even write down on a piece of paper, where are they putting it, because then they will remember where they put it. But this idea of giving it to the kids, that they should hide it, that you won't, because then officially the reason for that is, because you know where the pieces are, okay, you just gather the pieces and that's it. Like this, you're really going to have to search for it. The problem with that is, the big problem with that is, the kids hide it in places that you'll never think about. You won't find them. The kids don't remember where they put it, or they went to sleep. So therefore, there's no inyan in it. You don't have to hide the pieces of bread. You shouldn't hide the pieces of bread that you shouldn't know where they are. So you should know where they are, but the mitzvah is not just to find the 10 pieces of bread. Okay, so you put out the 10 pieces of bread. Then the custom is to take, even though logically it doesn't really apply today, but it does, that's tradition of Minig Yisrael Torah, and Kabbalistically there's a reason for it. If you ever noticed in the Bedikas Chametz kits, there's a beeswax candle, which is preferred to use, and then you have a feather, then you have a wooden spoon. Now what's the purpose of the candle? The candle is a candle. Now what's the purpose of the feather? Because in the olden days, how did you gather the crumbs? You didn't have dustbusters in those days. They were just with a feather. It's a good thing to what? Why? Why?
Well, the reason that term, we don't have the vacuum cleaner.
It doesn't exist anymore.
What are you talking about? Dustbusters exist?
They just have a different name for it.
Electric.
I got one in my house. And it was bought recently, by the way, just for the record. Anyway, so that's the purpose of the feather, even though today it's very impractical. And the spoon, officially, I think, is you gather the crumbs from the feather onto the spoon, because then you can put it into the bag. Because there's a spiritual inyan of the feather in the spoon. Because I'll tell you, after you do Bedikat Chametz, okay, let's go with an order. When you do Bedikat Chametz, it says in halacha, you should gather all the people of the house together. They should listen to your bracha. What is the bracha of Bedikat Chametz? It's interesting. The bracha logically would be Sheketshanu b'mitzvayis etzivanu al Bedikat Chametz, to search for the chametz, but that's not the bracha. The bracha is al bir chametz. Bir chametz means destroying the chametz, burning the chametz, getting rid of it. Why is that the bracha made on the Bedikat? Because the whole purpose of the Bedikat is, again, not to search. The Bedikat is to search in order to find, if there is anything to find, and to burn it the next day. So the Bedikat Chametz is, so to speak, a preparation for the ultimate purpose, which is burning the chametz. So you say the bracha al bir chametz. In addition to that, many Rishonim at the beginning of Pesachim hold that with Bedikas Chametz, you mekayim the mitzvah tashbitzu. You're fulfilling the mitzvah of destroying the chametz just by doing the mitzvah of Bedikas Chametz. What?
But you don't actually say a bracha when you do bir chametz.
No, you don't, because the bracha that last night goes on that also. So you gather everybody together. One second. You have the candle, you light the candle, and then you make the bracha, and you start looking immediately near the place where you made the bracha. You don't want to make a separation between the bracha and the beginning of the mitzvah. Now ideally, somebody shouldn't talk for the duration of the whole Bedikas Chametz, because you're in the middle of a mitzvah. So things pertaining to the Bedikat, for sure you're allowed to talk. Other things, if you talk to really Bedikat, it doesn't matter, but L'chatchila says you shouldn't talk things not pertaining to Bedikat because you're in the middle of the mitzvah. So you go look in all the rooms, you can have different people being your shliach also. Let's say if you have kids over bar mitzvah, you can't do it under bar mitzvah, not women also. You have over bar mitzvah, the kids can go look in, let's say, upstairs, downstairs, in this room, that room, whatever, that they could do the mitzvah, help along with the mitzvah Bedikas Chametz. Then, when you finish all the rooms, then the custom is you take the 10 pieces of bread with all the chametz that officially you're supposed to find. It doesn't happen too often. And then you put it into a paper bag, and you put the feather in it, the candle in it, and then when you put the stick into the bag, the handle of the stick is protruding outside of the bag. This is all Kabbalah stuff. It's protruding outside of the bag. You tie the bag around, you put it away, because if a mouse comes and sends it back all over the house, you're going to have to do Bedikas Chametz again. So you make it away, you put it away. Any chametz that you're planning to use the next day for breakfast, whatever, is put away. You know exactly where everything is. What did you want, Amir?
The bracha for the night is pure chametz, and the other one for the morning is srafat chametz, no?
No, there's no brach by day.
By day, no bracha.
No brach. Because you did it when you said, I'll be a chametz, that's for that also.
Then wouldn't you not be able to really speak until morning, until you have to...
Well, it depends how long Bedikas Chametz takes. By most people today, Bedikas Chametz doesn't take too long because the house is clean. Number one, a lot of people, like you said before. Huh?
So you actually do the Biur Chametz, because if the bracha is for the destruction, and then it's just saying it's one mitzvah, the Bedikat and the Biur. So technically you
I think it's a good idea. You shouldn't talk until after the burning.
My wife agrees with you.
Yeah, everybody, the wife will sure appreciate it.
But you said the kol chamira twice, no?
Yeah. The difference is, kol chamira, you don't say the chametz I know about. The chametz you know about, you're not being mafkir because you're going to be eating it the next day. The next day you say in the kol chamira hefker. Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. So then, after you finish Bedikas Chametz, what happens if you have to go to a few places, you have a business or whatever, so one bracha covers it all. Even if you spoke in middle, it's a different place, the bracha covers it all. Again, some people do Bedikas Chametz in many rooms earlier, then they don't have that much Bedikas Chametz to do the night of Bedikas Chametz. Then you nullify the chametz. Okay, so the tefillah is called Chamira v'Chamira. It's written in Aramaic. Why is it written in Aramaic? Because that's the language everybody knew. But basically, that is the nullification of the chametz. So the din is that you must know what you're saying. If you're going to read the Aramaic and you're not going to know what it means, it's mamish worthless. You have to have a general idea at least that any chametz is yeast or whatever that I know about, I don't know, but depending which bittul, should be hefker ka'afra da'ara, like the dirt of the ground. The Shulchan Aruch says, why do you say afra da'ara? Offer. Levi ka'afra, why do you have to say da'ara? So Shulchan Aruch says, not that it brings it down also, because gold is also called gold dust. They quote a pasuk. The gold is also called. When you say like dust, you don't mean like gold dust. That you're not being mevatel, you're not giving up. So you say kafra dara, that you should mean taka, okay. Now you have to be careful, the chametz that you left over in the house for the next day or whatever, especially if kids, what a lot of people do is before Pesach, let's say the kid, even if let's say their food, let's say on Pesach you wouldn't eat. Let's say for whatever machmed they are that they don't, but before Pesach, they'll buy Pesach dika nash, Pesach dika food, that the kids, even if they get it around, that's not chas v'sholom chametz. You don't want to eat it on Pesach but you're not going to say chas v'sholom, it's chametz. So at least the house is not chametz stick with the kids eating all over the place. So at least you won't have that issue with it. Okay, then you tie the bag and you put it away. Now then, okay, you nullify the chametz. Now really, Bedikas chametz and it really should be done during the day, right before the time. You should really do Bedikas chametz and bittul chametz. But the Gemara says two things. First of all, the candle doesn't shine during the day, like we said. And secondly, people are not home during the day, so they're going to forget. So at night, people are home, so they do it that way. Okay, so then you do bittul chametz that night. Now when it comes to the burning, I know I'm going out of order of the day, but when you burn the chametz the next day, you have to burn it before eating is after 4 hours of the day, halachic hours into the day, and burning is into the 5th hour of the day. I think it's like 10:43, 11:45, something it says on that thing, I remember the times. Something like that, because the hour changed, it's later. So then when you burn the chametz, so you do it and not later in the 5th hour. You have to make a separate fire. You can't burn it in your oven because then you're burning chametz in your oven. Don't forget the ovens that yesterday used to have wood. You can't just burn it as fuel in the oven because you're going to have chametz then. So you have to make a separate thing, burn chametz. Some people, in fact, have a minig that they say their lulav from Sukkot, they burn it together with the chametz. Some people burn the hishainus that they bring down a Shana Rabbah, they'll burn it with the chametz. It's not official Chabad custom either way. So those that do it, those that don't do it, and that's it. Then, when you burn the chametz during the day, then you have to do bittul chametz again. And that's the primary bittul chametz. But then you say, chametz I know, the chametz I didn't know. I'm nullifying everything of chametz that I own. And the selling of the chametz has to take place before that hour also. Okay, so you have to make some bittul chametz. People that are, let's say, for whatever reason, are not burning the chametz, say they don't have a place to burn it, they're going to give it to somebody else to burn or whatever, so they have to make sure before the end of the 5th hour they nullify the chametz. There's nothing to do with burning chametz. When you burn the chametz, then you nullify the chametz. But if you're not burning the chametz, you have to nullify the chametz anyway. What?
Would flushing work?
Flushing works al pi din as getting rid of the chametz, because Rabbi Yehuda holds in bir chametz al sreifa. Rabbi Yehuda holds you can only burn chametz to get rid of it. Chachamim hold hashbal say b'chol davar you can burn it anything, any way you're getting rid of it. In fact, when Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbos, so you can't make a fire. So what do you do with the leftover crumbs from the chametz you eat Shabbos morning? So So it says you flush it down the toilet, which is also destroying it. Number one, you're definitely making it hefker. Secondly, it's going way out of your domain. It's going into the sewers. So it's not, so halachically, technically, but there's a spiritual inyan of burning the chametz.